So let's talk about the actual system when it comes to reading a book and then implementing some of the things that you've read in the book. And somebody brought it up here in the chat, Rob. He said, I'm glad you guys are talking about this because sometimes I feel that I'm a slow reader. But at the end of the day, it's really about what you implement, right? Because there's no value to reading a book and then not using the information that you just read. Just think about that for a second. Let's say you read a book, it's 700 pages. You spent 3-4 weeks on it, if not longer. And then you close that book and then you move on to the next one. And literally your life is exactly the same as it was before the book versus after the book, right? What has changed? Nothing. So what you want to do is really focus on how do we implement the things that are shared in the book? How do we take action on this, right? And so one of the things that most people do, as you and I probably do too, Brooks, we highlight a lot of stuff. But you and I both know highlighting alone is not good enough. It's great for, opening up that book 2 years later and just looking at what you highlighted. But one of the challenges with just highlighting only is that, one, you don't really retain anything, right? It's just there. But also, two, I'm sure you've had this experience too, Brooks. When you read a book 2 years later or 3 years later or 5 years later, you're going to read that book with a completely different set of eyes, right? You have new experiences in life. You have new perspective on things. And even though you're reading the same book, you might interpret things very differently. And so some of these highlights then are not even relevant anymore. And so just highlighting alone is not good enough.